Hello guys, and welcome to this video which is going to talk about imperative verbs. Now, imperative verbs are also known as bossy verbs, okay? And we need to remember what a verb is. A verb is a doing word. And why we are focused in on this imperative verbs is because they're quite unique. And I'll show you why they're quite unique now. Here I've got two simple sentences. The man cuts the hair. David ran home. David run home now. Okay, so I've got two very simple sentences, and they're a simple sentence because they have what's called a subject. So in this subject it's the man, in this subject it's David, and then they have what we call a predicate, so something that happens. So the man cuts the hair, David run home now. So they've got subject, and that makes a sentence. That is the two fundamental things that make a sentence, a most basic of sentences. And the reason why imperative verbs are important, because it's a sentence where we don't have to have a subject. We can just start the sentence with the verb. Now the verb is the doing word. So in this case, the verb is cuts. And here the verb is, the doing word is to run. So we can just shorten these sentences down. We could get rid of these subjects and we could just write cut the hair. And there we are using the imperative verb to start our sentence. If in any other context I used a verb or another kind of word to start a sentence and didn't have a subject, it wouldn't be a proper sentence. But here I can do it because I'm using it as an order, as an instruction. And again, I can do the same here. I can get rid of David and I can have run home now. And that's perfectly fine as a sentence. Don't forget your capital letter and your full stops. Okay, but that's why imperative verbs are important, because we can kind of get rid of part of the subject, a very important part of the subject, the sentence, the subject, okay? So I've got another couple of sentences here. I've got Catherine cooked the potatoes for 5 minutes and please John, mix the ingredients together. So again, these are sentences and they've both got their subjects. And they've both got their predicates, okay? So, cook the potatoes for 5 minutes, mix the ingredients. So again, if I wanted to write these as a recipes or a method or instructions, those kinds of writing that tell us that we need to do something, I can actually get rid of the subject in the sentence and make the sentence shorter. So I could just make this one, cook the potatoes for 5 minutes, capital letter, full stop. And then again, so that's my verb, and then again this is my verb, it's the doing word. So I can start the sentence, I don't need to start the sentence with John or Catherine, I can start the sentence with mix the ingredients. Now, as I've already suggested, this is really important for when we write instructions or a recipe where we're telling people what to do. The fact is we don't have to start with he or she or they or it or names or nouns or anything like that. We can just start with the thing and it's still a proper sentence. Now we can actually also add something else to the beginning of the sentence. I could add time openers, things like firstly, secondly, next, later, okay, so that it helps you to sequence it. So I could just do that here. So I could say firstly, but if I'm doing that, it'd be nice to have a comma to separate it off from the main body of the sentence. And I would have to change that to things. So you are still allowed to have time openers. That helps us, isn't it? So firstly, do this. Secondly, mix. And again, I could do the same here. So I could have, say, next. Make that small m. It's nice to have a thing there. It's nice to have a comma there to partition off. And so that's nice. So that's what an imperative verb is, basically. An imperative verb is a verb we can start a sentence with, okay? We don't need a subject. The basic simple sentence is a subject, predicate, but when we use an imperative verb or a bossy verb, we do not need to use it. And that's what we do when we're writing recipes, methods, texts where you're telling people what to do. And this will be useful if you are going to write the recipe for how to make pasta, okay? So remember this for the next lesson.